This is Keith here. Welcome back to the channel where I share my journey where I'm balancing medicine and investing. As a full-time physician, just like many of you, I understand the unique challenges that we face. The long hours, documentation burdens, and that constant feeling that there's not enough time in the day. Today, I want to introduce you to an investment strategy that's become a significant part of my own portfolio: mortgage note investing. Before we dive in, I want to be clear that I'm sharing my personal experience and knowledge. I'm not providing financial, legal, or tax advice. Always consult with your own advisors before making any investment decisions. What is a mortgage note? Simply put, a mortgage note is a legal document that represents a debt obligation secured by real property. When someone buys a home with a loan, they sign a note promising to repay the lender. This note is a financial instrument that can actually be bought and sold. As a note investor, you essentially step into the position of the lender or the bank. Instead of owning physical property, you own the debt that's secured by that property. I was initially drawn to this because it allows me to invest in real estate without dealing with property management issues directly, something that's particularly appealing to me given my limited time as a physician. Why do I include notes in my investment strategy? Well, when I first started looking beyond traditional investments, I faced the same challenge that many of us do, and that was finding time. Between patient care, charting, and trying to maintain a semblance of work-life balance, I needed something that could generate consistent portfolio income, require focused but limited time commitment, provide security through collateral, and work with my available capital. Notes have met all of these criteria for me, though they do come with their own challenges, which I'll discuss. They have become part of my strategy that may allow me to eventually reduce my hours and achieve an optimal work-life balance. Now I would like to discuss the types of notes that are available. There are primarily two categories that I work with. First are performing notes. These are loans where the borrowers are making regular and on-time payments. They can generally be considered lower risk and have the potential to provide predictable monthly income. These can often be purchased somewhere between 70 to 90% of their unpaid principal balance, which is the amount the borrower still owes on the loan. And this helps provide an immediate equity cushion that can improve your investment yield. Second, there are non-performing notes. These involve borrowers who have fallen behind on their payments for whatever reason. These require more work, but can often be purchased at steeper discounts, often around 40 to 70% of the unpaid balance. While they do involve more risk and complexity, they potentially offer more upside return. But let me be transparent. While notes can be more hands-off than direct property ownership, they do still require regular attention. There's payment processing through your servicer, annual tax documentation, and periodic borrower issues that all can take your time. This isn't completely hands-off, it's just a different type of management. There are some practical considerations for physicians. If you're considering adding notes to your portfolio, here are some key points that I've come across from my experience. First are tax considerations. Unlike physical real estate, unfortunately, notes don't really offer any depreciation benefits. Also, the income is generally taxed as ordinary income, which is something to think about depending on what tax bracket you find yourself in. Also, if you're investing in funds, you might find yourself receiving a K1, which adds some additional tax complexity and is something that you would want to discuss with your accountant. Second are capital requirements. Starting in notes can require more capital than some other investments. On the low end, notes will often be at least $25,000, though there are ways to find notes for less than this. Third, it's important to get educated before taking action. I spent at least 6 months learning before I made my first purchase. I was attending workshops, I joined note investor groups, and I began connecting with mentors. And fourth is risk management. Notes come with unique risks, including borrower defaults, property value fluctuations, and legal complexities. I've experienced some setbacks, and I've been able to learn from them. I'm going to share that in some future videos with some case studies. Next, I want to discuss balancing medicine and note investing. One question that I often get is, how do you find the time? The honest answer is through disciplined time blocking and systems. I dedicate specific hours each week to note investing activities. I also leverage virtual assistants for administrative tasks and professional servicers to manage borrower communications. This allows me to focus my limited time on the highest value decision making. My goal isn't to 100% replace medicine. I do enjoy being a physician, but I do want the freedom to practice on my terms. And maybe someday I would like to go part-time, and this could help me avoid burnout and enjoy more of my personal hobbies, like golf, skiing, and hiking. You might be asking yourself if this strategy is right for all physicians. I want to be clear. Note investing isn't necessarily right for every physician. If you don't have adequate emergency funds and retirement savings, and you aren't prepared to spend time learning a new skill set, or you don't have capital that you can afford to have in a relatively illiquid asset, or maybe you simply prefer something that is completely hands-off, then maybe notes aren't best for you, and it might be best to consider index funds or other traditional investments which might be more suitable. There's really nothing wrong with that approach, and I know many successful physicians who've chosen either path. It's really best to discuss this with your advisors and determine what might be the best fit for your needs and your goals. Note investing isn't a get-rich-quick strategy, but it has provided me with a path toward portfolio diversification that works alongside my medical career. It's allowed me to diversify beyond the stock market while creating income streams that don't require direct time for money trades. In future videos, I'll dive deeper into specific note strategies, due diligence processes, and how I integrate notes with other investments to create a balanced portfolio. I'll also share some of the mistakes I made along the way. So if you're a physician or professional looking to expand your investment horizons, I hope you'll subscribe and join me on this journey. I genuinely want to build a community of like-minded professionals who can learn and grow together. Thanks for watching. Drop any questions in the comments, and I'll do my best to address them in future videos. Until next time, remember, investing in your financial education is just as important as investing in your medical knowledge. We'll see you in the next video.